Last year, I made a video where we talked about Indian design salaries, and you all seemed to really enjoy it. So, this year, Zeta has put out a new report where they surveyed over 1,400 designers from the top cities in India, all the way from 0 to 15 years of experience. The results might shock you, or they might reveal what you should be aiming at as you grow in the design field. In this video, Jenila and I discuss the report, our personal experience in the US as well as India, and we help you understand your value and how much you could be making as a UI UX or product designer.
I also think that being a designer, we never talk about this, but obviously when you think about like career wise, what are the first things you want to do? Like the first thing is like, okay, paid bharna chahiye. Like me, like I gotta make money in this field.
So last year, we actually did a video on this, which is how much do designers make. We talked about salaries and we talked about freelance. This is actually a report by Zeta. Zeta puts out a yearly designer salary report. We talked about the one last year. These are the latest numbers from this year. I'll also leave a link if you want to check that out. But and for Janil, of course, you're based in the US, so I've also added some dollar figures here.
Oh,
So we can
nice.
make that comparison.
Thank you.
But 0 to 2 years, bro. This is what we found. I think one thing that is missing is the lower bound. If you're on highest and median, I would have also liked to see lowest.
Yes.
But yeah, bro.
But dude,
this
the
is
lowest
what
can be really low.
designers make.
So I think if they put the lowest in there, wouldn't that be demotivating? Because like, I mean, lower can be anything low. Like, I mean, what if you accept a super low offer for just 20,000 rupees? It's up to you, right?
They should then the report should make you feel bad for not asking your worth, which it is kind of doing already. I guess if you have a very low salary and you find this, it should. But
I think
one
seeing
thing I
the
want to just
higher
note
bound
here,
will make you feel that way.
absolutely. One thing just to note here, right? 8.5 lakhs, you might think, let me just add some commentary for somebody who's out of the loop. 8.5 lakhs median, you might think this is hard, but this is pretty much what designers start at these days, especially if you're working in startups, you're working at tech companies. If you're working at agencies, typically it's lower, right? But that's also because in general, the revenue per employee at an agency is much lower than it is at a product company. And that's why product companies pay more. But it's around $10,000 a year, 8.5 lakhs. Like this is says median, but this is literally out of last couple of years data that we have from 10K designers. This is what people start at typically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll be very candid with you. My CTC package after finishing college was 2.5 lakh rupees. And after 2 years of staying in that company, big MNC, then you would like get promoted to like 3.9 lakh rupees. And even now, I talked to some like juniors from my college. It's not improved that much. Like now they're offering like I think 3 to 4 lakh rupees if you graduate from a college in engineering. Maybe I'm not saying the top tier like IITs and stuff. But so compared to that, when I hear these numbers, it's like this is way better. Don't you think so?
Yeah. The way to also think about it is we've got streams, right? We've got different streams in engineering, right? And I remember my data from college as well. Mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, all of these fields, the like core engineering branches, much lower, right? And then the outlier was always computer science. Like we had in our college 10 lakh, 15, 20 lakh packages, Amazon and companies like that. We're also seeing that in design. A lot of self-taught designers were able to do that, but also in design schools, that is what it's like.
Isn't that insane? Like just let's think for a moment, like what you just said. A self-taught designer, right, did not get a PhD or a master's degree right away, but
or bachelor's even in design.
Like just getting a lot of experience by freelancing, working on projects, and is able to command a salary of 10 lakh. In some cases, you said even going up to 15 lakhs or even more.
Yeah. Let's make it even crazier, right? Let's look at the high number here, 35 lakhs, 44K. 44K in the US would be not a great salary. Right? It would be, you're kind of at is that the baseline? Like kind of like it's close to poverty line, right? Poverty, I don't know. Isn't?
No, not poverty.
I don't know what exactly the figure was.
I mean, it depends. Like, I mean, if you were living in the Bay Area or Silicon Valley, if you make less than $120,000, you consider like below poverty line. So that's like pretty outlier. But like in
how's
Dallas,
44K
Texas,
in the US though? What's it like?
It's not great, I would say. I wouldn't say it's like poverty line or something like that, but it would just, you kind of struggle to make ends meet. Like, I'll give you an example. My first salary ever in the design field when I was working in the US was $60,000 to start out with. So that was the first one that I got. But then obviously you work upwards, it's much higher. But then just hearing that, like 0 to 2 years, you're getting 35 lakh rupees, dude. I gotta put myself back in India, and I'm like, God damn, dude, 35 lakh rupees. That's a shit ton of money.
My first
it's life changing. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, my first salary was 15. It was 15 lakhs. My first full time jobs as a designer. But this 35 lakhs, the way I would interpret it for everybody here is it's not some weird outlier, some dude got lucky. I know so many people who
Yeah.
are making this money, and one of the very common ways they're doing it is exactly this. In the US, 44K, you're not going to get somebody who's a really good designer, right? Jenny's first salary
Yes.
was 60K. But today, with remote work, companies know that they can find somebody who's really good in India or other countries, pay them 44K, which is for them on the lower end. But for India, this is really, really good money. This is really good money.
It
And a lot
is.
of, I know a lot of African designers as well who are onto the same kind of wave. Just for
Same. Yeah.
in Nigeria, for example, 35,
Lagos,
44K
yes.
is really, really crazy. So I think
Yep.
we do have that kind of inherent advantage.
Dude, I'm just like, even if I'm not in Ahmedabad, even if I'm in Bangalore, like I know Ahmedabad is a little bit cheaper, I guess, than Bangalore, but like staying in Ahmedabad and making anywhere like 30 lakh rupees a year, dude, that's like living like a king, man. Like all the expenses, like, oh my
Yeah.
God. And that too, like with 0 to 2 years of experience, that would be like almost like, okay, to accomplish this number in my head, what I would have to do, what I've seen is I would have to finish my undergrad in engineering, then maybe go to IAM, do a master's, and then hopefully work for a little bit, then maybe get promoted. Then I'd probably, after all those years of experience, maybe even get close, not even beat this number. So what's
Yeah.
mind blowing is that if you're creative and you've always been passionate about design, the opportunity is just insane, and you will make money. So
Yeah. Let's go through 2 to 5 years of experience. This has
okay,
actually the most number of participants, 2 to 5, 473. Also a
oh my god,
similar scale, right? Like I had mentioned,
dude,
my first salary was 15 lakhs. Here the median is around 14,
yeah,
right? Which is quite normal. Going up to 50 lakhs. So this now my reading of this is this definitely includes people who are working remote, right? 60K is a very normal, very achievable remote product designer salary. But at the 2 to 5 years range, you are also probably working as a more senior product designer, somebody who has been at a company, has that kind of domain expertise. And even if you might not be head of design, which you still can be, right? A lot of startups do hire heads of design in this range or team leads in this range. 40 lakhs achievable. One note I'll add here for you, Janil, is this is actually not completely accurate because this is just salary. Stocks
oh
are
my
on top of
god,
this. Stocks
oh,
are on
this
top
is
of this.
base pay.
This is
Oh my
base pay.
god, damn, dude.
So I
Dude,
can
let me
just tell
just.
you, designers with
Oh
2 to 5 years
my
of
god,
experience who are making even let's say 25, 30,
lakhs,
typically get another 25 or 30 on top as stock options, ESOP.
dude. I really want to drop a bunch of f bombs. That's what I feel right now. Wait, so let me understand this. So they're making
Okay.
25 lakhs in base pay, and on top of that, oh my god! So they're anyways actually going near the top. They're actually making close to 40 to 50 lakhs then, if you include
Yeah.
the stock part of it as well.
Yeah. So in a year, you're probably not exactly touching the 1 crore figure, but you're well on your way to it. And some of these folks, if you are making 50 lakhs, very
Yeah.
likely that your stocks component is probably around something similar. So you are
God damn,
close
dude.
to touching 1 crore in this range.
Dude, let me explain this to you. So back then, like to achieve even anywhere close to 50 lakhs, right? So there was this like Viz kid that I was in my engineering with me. Like let's just say, yeah, like Tahir is a good friend of mine. And he was a born genius. He got into IITs, but then he decided to join my college because of family reasons and stuff. And then he went into IIT and he was doing his master's in electrical engineering. And then I think Goldman or someone came to hire someone. And then out of like hundreds of people they hired, he was the only one who got hired. And I wasn't surprised. He was genius. And he was like one of those people that could crack all India rank in top 10. Like imagine that kind of person. And
Yeah.
then he ended up getting a package of, I think, somewhere close to 40 lakhs or something like that. So to me, to achieve 40 lakhs, it's like you have to be this born genius, go to IITs, IIM. So what you're telling me is like literally blowing my mind away. Like, wow, this
Yeah.
is within reach.
And for everybody who's watching, usually I've noticed there's two types of people. First is that, oh, okay, dude, it's a outlier, man. Like this person making 50 lakhs, yeah, dude, they got lucky. Like,
Is born genius or like, some exceptional
yeah, bro. Like
case or
like me,
something.
normal people like me, I'll probably get
Yeah.
maybe 14, maybe 10 if I'm
Yeah.
lucky, 50 totally out, right? That's a little bit of a
Yeah.
self-limiting type of belief. And the other
Yes.
person says, dude, if there is somebody really out there
Yeah.
who is making 50 lakhs. Why would I not put in that same amount of effort,
Yeah.
use all these resources on the internet, make
Hmm.
connections, and try to aim for the same? And I think between the two, between the more cynical mindset versus optimistic,
Yes.
I would always advise you to be more on the optimistic side. Because
Yeah.
if you're an optimist and you're right, there's a lot more you get out of it than if you're a cynic and you're right.
And just to clarify, Abhinav, it's just not just one person in that out of that 473 that crossed the top 50 lakh, right? There's a couple of people. And I think you
Probably.
might even know some people as well. So I'm just asking that because I want to dispel this myth that in the entire survey, maybe only one person who was exceptional born genius got that 50 lakh, but actually it's a couple of people or even more who were able to make that much amount of money.
Yeah. And dude, I'll say this. When I was in 2 to 5 years experience, I was making 50 lakhs. Not base pay, right? I was still
Yeah.
lagging a little behind.
Yeah.
It's definitely way more today than it was back in
Yeah.
my day. But I was making that maybe with stocks combined. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who also are very similarly. So
So if you're watching this right now and you're wondering, like, or if your brain is still telling you that, yeah, exceptional case, this is not for me, this is some born genius, then what I want you to really think about is not actually one person who's making this money. There's a bunch of people, multiple people. And so you cannot say this is extraordinary case, like born genius type of things, hard work. And if you want, like Abhinav was saying, if you have an optimistic mindset and growth mindset, you also can make that money.
yeah. Now, this is where we get into higher and higher ranges, right? This is 5 to 8. At this point,
Oh
the
my
highest
freaking God.
starts looking like Silicon Valley ranges, right? If you're
Yeah.
making 92, now this is where I was actually questioning the whether it's base or just stocks, right? This is where my confusion kind of came in because 92
Yeah.
is pretty on the high side,
Insane for a
but
base, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of insane for a base. And in general,
Yeah.
startups would not prefer to pay you 92. They would prefer to give you a
Yeah.
lower base, but
Mm-hmm.
stocks, so that as the company grows, it actually multiplies. That's the
Mm-hmm.
advantage with stocks, right? 92 here
Yeah.
as base is just 92. But if you
Yeah.
had 50 plus 42 as base, the next
Mm-hmm.
fundraise that happens, that 42 becomes 84, right?
Yeah.
Just an example. But this is what 5 to 8 is. And let me show you the next one as well, which is 8 to 12.
But quick, by the way, before you go, if you go back one, so when you said that it's very in line with what Silicon Valley is actually true because around the 5 to 8 mark, you can easily make here in the US, for example, 120, and I was already making that, so it's pretty close in terms of similarity, whether you're based in the US or in India at that year mark.
Yeah. And one thing to note here is I know a lot of people do know this as a starting salary for a product designer in Silicon Valley, it would be 100K, 120K, right? So you might look at this and be like, yo, 5 to 8 years of experience. The note to make here is just that Silicon Valley, New York, these are all very, very expensive places, right? So
Extremely.
you might be making 120K, but you actually spend most of that on your costs. So
Let
this
me
right
ask you,
here, yeah.
what is the rent? Like, let's say this is the salary offered in Bangalore for 5 years. I'm
Hmm.
just want to do this calculation with you, and I'm
Yeah.
going to live in a place, apartment by myself, 1 bedroom. How much do you think it'll cost?
Your monthly rent would probably
Yes.
be at the higher end, $1,000, 60,000 rupees, right? You have a night, not even a 1 bedroom, right? 1 bedrooms are not so common in India, right? Studio
Okay.
apartments not so common in India,
Yeah.
but a nice house, nice apartment in a major city in Bangalore, $2,000, like $2,000. This is like 1.2 lakhs paying rent.
God damn.
Very unlikely, right? Nobody does that, and it doesn't happen. At that point, you're probably buying a house and just paying your
Yeah.
monthly payments. But I can tell you somebody who, like, if any of you here are moving to Bangalore soon, your rent, if you want your own room, and let's say it's a 2 or 3 bedroom and you're sharing it with people,
Yeah.
it's probably around 15,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees,
Per month.
30,000 rupees
Wow.
per month. In Bombay, it's a little higher. It's 30,000, 40,000 because of real estate in Bombay. But
Yeah.
even that is $600, $800, right?
Dude, let
That's
me tell you the rates for here. It's gonna blow your mind. You're talking about a high cost of
yeah.
living. So a buddy of mine just joined Google and moved to the Silicon Valley. Dude, if you want to live close, like let's say something like Indiranagar, you want to live close on the strip, like right next to all the offices, you are looking at paying for a studio that's only like 400 square feet or even less. You're gonna pay $4,000 to $5,000 a month in just rent. Now, if you go farther out and you share with someone and do all these things, even then you're paying at something at $2,000 to $3,000 a month in rent. So when you tell me like if you're gonna share with someone and moving to Bangalore, you're gonna pay 15,000 to 30,000 rupees a month, dude. Look at the amount of savings you're gonna have on that kind of package. It's insane.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, most people are actually living with their parents, right? Because
Yeah. Oh my
either
god.
because of COVID and the remote push, all these companies are also hiring remotely now. So even if they do
Yeah.
have their headquarters in Bangalore, the kind of setup
Yeah.
right now is mostly hybrid for most people I've spoken to. So
True.
what that would mean is every second month or so, they would come to Bangalore for a couple
Yeah.
days, spend a week, go back home. Or yeah, I mean, you live in Bangalore
Dude,
and you
I
should live
talked
with your
to
parents. So
dude, what was crazy is I talked to this designer in Rajkot, and he is making $35 an hour, or like, and then he stays with his parents in this like they play the small or like the house they have in Rajkot, and he's eating like homemade food, and but like the amount of savings he's able to make, it's just mind blowing to me.
yeah, as we go into the higher ranges, however, right? Of course, the number of participants is way lower, and
Yes.
just to
Oh
give you the
my
money
god.
shot right here, 12, 15
Oh
years, it's
damn,
around
dude.
300K, right?
God damn.
But the interesting thing to note here is one thing that starts happening at these ranges, 5 to 8, 8 to 12, is a lot of people are like, dude, why should I be a designer? At this point, I have design skills, I can build
Yeah.
products. And a lot of
Yes.
designers actually at this point start their own businesses, start
Yeah.
agencies, start products, even startups, like working that closely with startup founders,
Yeah.
pick up on a lot of things.
Yeah.
So
Like you.
yeah, exactly. But even otherwise, there is a lot of money to be made in design leadership, because as we get, as we get into more internet proliferation, better products, the standard for design is already pretty high, right? The average
Yeah.
person on the street is using WhatsApp, Facebook, things that have been designed by this design team
Yeah.
sitting in San Francisco, probably some of the best designers
I
in the
know.
world. Design standard is pretty high. So if you are a design leader working on Indian products, your compensation is very high because there's so few people like that who are able to, make that happen.
Dude, that's just absurd. Like 2.4 crores. Like, oh my freaking god, man. This is insane.
And what this doesn't capture is ESOPs, right? Which is, I know a lot of people in startups, right? These are more now, let's just say, designers who've been working for a good amount of time, product managers, engineers, who are sitting on double and triple digit crores, dude. Their net worth is in the
Triple
double and
digit
triple digit
crores.
crores. Triple digit crores. That's
That's
um,
insane.
in the millions of dollars, let's just say, right? 20,
Yeah.
10 million, 20 million.
God damn,
That's
dude.
because although there's a lot more money to be made in the US in terms of salaries, when it comes to
Yeah.
tech products, when it comes to raising money, valuations, growing user base, it's pretty much the same, whether you're in Bangalore
Yeah.
or any other tech hub. So with
Yes.
that comes your ESOP value multiplying.
Yeah.
And that, of course, like is also insane. I do know personally as well people who are at that range in the millions of dollars,
God
just
damn,
through
dude.
not even starting a company or taking a heavy risk, just through finding a good company, helping it grow through design, being a part of
Yeah.
a growth journey. As they say, if somebody offers you a seat on a rocket ship, you don't ask which seat, because you're going to the moon,
dude.
dude. If you enjoyed that video, please, of course, let us know. Leave a like and comment. But besides that, this is what we do for a living. We help creatives and designers level up in their careers. If you'd like to join one of our live programs, we do them a few times a year. Check out the link in the description. It's 10kdesigners.com. And I'll see you around.